So we'll have to wait and see. It will be the Iame Bambino Heat 1 up next. So some more Bambino action for all of you to enjoy. We've seen some great Bambino racing this weekend. Long may it continue. It's a fantastic class for the youngest drivers in the UK to get their start in motor racing. And they're making their way out now onto the formation lap. And it'll be soon be chance to get racing. And we will get racing very, very shortly with the Iame Bambinos. Time then for the opening heat of the Iame Bambino class. The drivers making their way out of the pit lane. We'll be going racing in just a short moment's time. It will be the number 92, Freddie Baker, starting from the pole, I believe. These things exactly the same as the Como Bambinos that we've seen earlier, except they've got an Iame engine. So, you know, your run-of-the-mill 50cc, 69 kilo minimum weight, ages 6 to 8, and, of course, those LeConte all-weather tyres. Making their way then into the grid slots. Bodie Batch in the 88, he starts in second position, and he'll be looking for a strong result here. A 13 kart grid, should I say, coming into this race. We've seen some fantastic Bambino action this weekend. Let's hope for the fact that it will carry on as the racing does. Last few words of advice from the mechanics and parents before we get racing. It'll be all eyes to the lights again. A standing start, as with all of our Bambino classes and our Honda Cadet classes as well. Now the engines roar into life. Start engines up on the digi display. It is almost time for the opening heat of the Iame Bambino category here at Rye House in the 2023 London Cup. 13 drivers out on the grid. What is sure to be a fantastic race. It is all eyes now up to the lights as we wait. The tension rises, the excitement rises. It's time to go racing. Lights are green. We're underway. It's a fantastic start from the number 92 of Freddie Baker. A disappointing start from Bodie Batch in P2. He'll get overtaken by the 20 of Ollie Little heading into Stadium Bend down at turn 1. But they're all clean. A kerfuffle of karts further back in the pack, all trying to shift around and find their positions. But heading through, it's a great start there for the number 92 of Freddie Baker. Oh, it's been a crash down a whole pile of multiple karts getting involved. Down at the infield hairpin. 2 are spun and facing the wrong way. That's the 70 and the 40. Freddie Dye and Jenson James Williams. A few other cars got involved in that, were able to continue immediately. Those two have now managed to get back on circuit, but a disappointing way to start the opening heat of the weekend for this category. But leading the opening lap, it is the number 92, your pole sitter, Freddie Baker, who has managed to streak away from the pack a little bit. 1.3 seconds far ahead of everyone else. He was 50.967 was his opening lap. Only driver in the 50-second range. This is the fight though for P2. Ollie Little being chased by, that looks like the number 15, it looks like. So that's potentially a lapped car. It may actually be the number 15. So we're just under the number 15 going around there. So interested to see. No number 15 out on the timing screen, so maybe a driver without a transponder, but the number 15 goes to the inside there with a lovely move, but Ollie Little fights back through. Bodie Batch behind as well. That is what looks like it's Ralph Martin in that number 15. So Ralph Martin with the number 15, he's all okay. He will continue to push through, and the timing screen has now updated, so luckily no transponder issues there for Ralph Martin in this fight for P2. Currently running though in the final podium place is Ralph Martin. Look, he gets through with a brilliant move into Reg's elbow. Awesome stuff from the young man as they head through, and that demotes Ollie Little down into P3. And that last lap from the leader Freddie Baker was 2 seconds faster than everyone else. Unbelievable pace. Ralph Martin now trying to streak away from this fight between Ollie Little and Bodie Batch. We'll have to wait to see what is going to happen. Oh, look at the 88 pushing the number 20 all the way through the S's and coming through the final corner. Actually shoves the 20 out a little bit wide. And now it's a drag race down the start-finish line. They come to the line this time. To the inside goes the 88. Will he get the position? Yes, he will. Oh, but he runs a little bit wide, but he's able to just check up a little bit, and that holds Ralph Martin back ever so slightly. And once again, Freddie Baker, 1.5 seconds faster than anyone on that last lap. He has well and truly departed the crime scene, shall we say. He is streaking into the distance, over 5 seconds ahead already. Just 4 minutes left to run in this race. As this fight for P3 now, as it becomes, they head into the complex Nivelle. And, well, actually it looks like it may be becoming a fight for P2, because Bodie Batch is now starting to catch up to Ralph Martin. So maybe he's got the pace on board that 88 machine. Only time will tell as they make their way down the start-finish straight. Again, great to see a big crowd watching along here trackside. Bodie Batch, he takes a very, very wide line coming through Stadium Bend, does the 88. Interesting to see, but, you know, whatever works for him. If it's fast, it's fast. But Bodie Batch, he did gain half a second on Ollie... or on Ollie Little, should I say, on that last lap, or on a Ralph Martin, shall I say, in P2. Very much a fight now for the remaining podium places. Further back, that is the 18 there of Elia Tang, being chased by Sophia Page in the number 14. The strikingly pink kart, having a look now to the outside as they head into Pylon Corner, but unable to make the gap appear. The 18 still holds on firm in this fight for P6 further down the order. And with 2 minutes and 50 seconds left to go, these guys fighting very, very hard indeed. Great to see action everywhere you look here at Rye House. As they head down the main straight now, can Sophia Page find a gap? No, just a little bit too far back is the 14 at the moment, but looks a lot more comfortable. The kart looks a lot more settled than the 18 heading through Stadium Bend. The 18 was just moving all around. It was, you know, a real picture to see, but not sure if it's the fastest way to negotiate the tough and tricky Stadium Bend, one of the hardest corners in all of UK karting. The 18, though, holds firm for that P6 at the moment. Elia Tang is doing a great job up there. And as they head through, once again, you can see the 18 is really, really moving. He's really pushing that thing, is Elijah Tang. And just extracting everything he can from that Iame Bambino machine. With 1 minute and 53 seconds left on the clock, here is a run maybe for Sophia Page coming out of Paddock Bend, maybe into Stadium Bend. No, decides against it. And just unfortunately not quite able to make the gap appear. Being very, very gentle on the tyres though. That is Bodie Batch on the back of Ralph Martin. Back to the battle though between Elijah Tsang and Sophia Page. Page gets a slightly tighter exit, but still can't quite find the gap. It's going to have to be a long, long dive bomb into the outfield hairpin, which ultimately she does decide against. Oh, but a great run out of the outfield hairpin, almost touching. They do touch on the run into Pylon Corner. Great move by Sophia Page. Up into P6 she goes, sweeping down into the Pylon Corner. Awesome stuff from the number 14, and now the number 18 of Elijah Tsang. The hunted has become the hunter. What can he do? With 1 minute left on the clock, we should have, I believe, 3 more laps left to run for this group here, depending on where the leader is. Yeah, it will be 3 more laps. The leader's just coming into the final corner now. And this battle, absolutely titanic for P6 at the moment. And these guys, it was a great lap there from Sophia Page. Her personal best of 49.660. Awesome, awesome stuff there from the pair of them. And she is now starting just to streak away a little bit, stretching her legs, showing her pace in the number 14. Now, here we go, battle for P2 heading into Stadium Bend. Bodie Batch on the attack against the 15 of Ralph Martin. This is awesome, awesome action here at the London Cup in 2023. And these guys, you know, they are going to give it everything that they have as they come round the... coming through Reg's elbow, or sorry, should I say the outfield hairpin, and up, down through the balcony in front of many a spectator in the main complex here at the circuit. Through Pylon Bend and now Complex Nivelle, a corner which I must say I'm not particularly fond of because I can't get it right. But these guys have absolutely smashed it through there. They'll be coming to the line now to start their last lap of the race. Oh, a bit of mind games there from Ralph Martin. He takes it to the inside. He nods to Bodie Batch. He takes the inside. They're going to be side by side through Stadium Bend. We know how strong Bodie Batch is through here. Does he get through as we cut to the 8 of Etienne Gardner? And no, he doesn't quite get through. The 15 still in front of the 88. The number 92, Freddie Baker, has a 10-second lead. He's only got a handful of corners left to run. But this fight for P2, it still rages on as they head now through the outfield hairpin. The leader is exiting the final corner now, but this battle's still monstrous. There he is, Freddie Baker, dominance in the Iame Bambino Heat 1. He takes victory with another fastest lap of the race. Moments away then from the final heat of the day for the Iame Bambino class. Put on a fantastic display in the opening heat. Here's hoping for some more brilliant racing from these young drivers as they're lined up in the dummy grid, getting ready to head out for their formation lap before they go out onto the grid and then, of course, line up. And it is time to go racing. As we wait, we can see some of the drivers there just cleaning off helmets, getting any excess of rain away from the visor. Although it's no longer raining at the current moment, still lots of standing water around the track. Spray still a big issue as the young drivers make their way out onto the circuit. We're going to have to wait and see. Freddie Baker leads the way out onto the track with Bodie Batch, a real highlight from race, or heat 1, should I say. It was his overtaking. He's following him in the 88 machine. Ralph Martin in there as well. Some fantastic, fantastic drivers in this class. And we are only moments away from seeing them going racing for the final heat of the weekend before they get going for their final later on. You can see the sun is now out here at Rye House. It's it's a bizarre instance where the, very heavy downpour. Now the sun is shining. The wind has dropped a little bit, but it's still a little bit windy here. But for the most part, the sun's shining. That's the main thing that we care about. No more rain scheduled for the rest of the today after the downpour that we've seen. I think that's a relief to absolutely everybody. The drivers make their way out onto the grid then. Freddie Baker, the number 92, will start on the pole position with Bodie Batch in the 88 alongside. Those two put on a great display in race 1. Let's hope they can do more of the same here in the second heat. The rest of the drivers all filing into their grid slots. Moments away from heat 2. Moments away from perhaps the most important race of the weekend, excluding the final, because this is where you decide where you start for the final. So this is all about just getting out there, running a clean race, but you've got to be faster as well. And if you had a disappointing race 1, you need to be making moves in this one, in the second heat. But Baker and Batch on the front row, just behind them Ralph Martin and Ollie Liddell as well, the numbers 15 and 20 respectively. They also put on a fantastic effort in the opening race. Going to be interesting to see how it all unfolds. We are waiting for the nod to start the engines. There we go. The engines of the Iame Bambinos roaring to life. And we are now moments away from the start of the second heat of the weekend, the final heat of the weekend for these young drivers. And it'll be all eyes to the light in a short moment's time. It is lights out. We are underway. It's a great start once again from Freddie Baker, but Bodie Batch also got away very, very well. Further back in the pack, Jenson James Williams was trying to make moves there as they slide through Stadium Bend. Still not a lot of grip available through that monstrous first corner, but it's Baker from Batch from Liddell. Your top 3 at the moment is someone making big moves there, sliding up into P2, that was, I believe. I believe that may have been Ollie Liddell that tried to go through. No, it was Ralph Martin who's actually managed to get into P3 and now trying P2. He slid through on Bodie Batch and through there goes Ollie Liddell as well. Bodie Batch loses 2 places in one corner, but he's going to try and fight to get it back though, coming through the left-hander and now into the complex Novell pylon bend. Seemed to be a place to try and make a move, and it was, but there is Ollie Liddell not taking no for an answer as they come into Paddock Bend, and indeed Ollie Liddell has squeezed through and up into 3rd place he goes. Great stuff there from him, or should I say third place, as Ralph Martin continues to hold on to that P2. Bodie Batch currently unable to make a way through, currently unable to find a gap as Freddie Baker 1.3 seconds ahead already, similar to what we saw in Heat 1. Freddie Baker just streaking away at the front and doing his own thing, keeping it on the black stuff, and that's how he runs a race. But Ralph Martin, though, up into P2. Great start for him. Ollie Little as well, still fighting with Bodhi Batch further back in the pack. The number 13 of Daniel Jenov fighting with Elijah Tsang. They're putting on a great display, and now Bodhi Batch is under attack from Jenson James Williams, who's going to slide at the inside and complex of a lovely move by Jenson James Williams, just shutting the door on Bodhi Batch. Bodhi Batch, the number 88, is having a very disappointing opening to this second heat. He'd be loving to maybe try going forward instead, but something just seems to be not working, not clicking for him, just seems to be struggling at the moment. The 18 and the 13 there. Genov and Tsang still fighting for the time being, just behind the fight in front of them of James Williams and Bodhi Batch. And Batch is currently in front of Jenson James Williams, or should I say, Jenson James Williams is currently in front of Bodhi Batch, but it depends how long that is going to last. It's all running very, very wide there. That was Bodhi Batch, and that's exposed him to an attack potentially from Daniel Genov, but luckily he was able to get the drive out of the outfield hairpin and was able to protect himself. But once again, into complex, Novell runs very, very wide. Almost contact between the 13 and the 88, but not quite. Missed by mere millimetres as they came through. It's still very, very wet, very, very tricky down at that part of the circuit as we come through. Ralph Martin still leading the... Ralph Martin... Ooh, what's happened to Freddie Baker? Freddie Baker's had it off somewhere. Freddie Baker's dropped down into 4th place. Ralph Martin now leads the way. Freddie Baker into 4th. Ollie Little in 2nd. That promotes Jenson James Williams into 3rd. So what has happened to Freddie Baker? It's a bizarre incident there for him, but nonetheless, we are going to move on. As we see here, the 18 and the 14... Elijah Tsang and Sophia Page reliving their fight from Heat 1, but this time Daniel Genov is getting involved as well in that battle in Heat 1. Elijah Tsang came up trumps and pipped Sophia Page to the line by millimetres. But this time, maybe Sophia Page can try and fight back, can try and work some magic. Martin with the fastest lap of the race there, a 53.661, until Freddie Baker demolishes it with a 53.657 to the inside. Goes Tsang up the inside. Goes Tsang on the 13, but unless... almost Genov was able to try and fight back on the inside, coming through Stadium Bend, but just not quite able to make the gap appear. That is then Elijah Tsang up into P6. So great stuff for the number 18, who gets through on the number 13, but just behind them, the number 14 is also trying to get involved in this fight. So we'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds later on. As there we see this battle continuing down the bottom end of the circuit into Pylon's corner. And now the complex Nouvelle. And running very, very wide there was Elijah Tsang in the 18 machine. But luckily he was able to get the drive down off of the corner. Was able to keep it pushing, keep it rolling. There we see a battle further up. Oh no! Round goes the 40 of Jenson James Williams, taken out by Freddie Baker. For P3, a furious Jenson James Williams, gesturing and cursing the racing gods. Freddie Baker, I think just a miscalculation under the braking. They came together and round went Williams. Luckily, he's able to continue, but he will have dropped down the order. He's just in front of Elijah Tsang at the moment, so running in P5. So Bodhi Batch is in front of him now. But wow, that is disappointing for Jenson James Williams. The number 40 was having a great race up in the podium positions. But unfortunately, it has all come to naught. Ollie Little has been given a warning with 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. So not far to go then in this Heat 2 for the Iame Bambino class. Can Jenson James Williams hold off Elijah Tsang, or does Elijah Tsang maybe fancy another position? Only time will tell. As there we see the 13 and the 14, Genov and Sophia Page still fighting. As it stands, Page unable to find a gap as they head into the infield hairpin. A very tricky left hairpin section, hard on the brakes, but you're not going to lock the rear, but you've got to rotate the rear at the same time. It's a very painfully tricky corner. Round goes the 18 of Elijah Tsang. So I'm not entirely sure if he just carried too much speed or if he locked a rear, but the 18 goes around. He'll drop behind Sophia Page, who still continues to fight the number 13, but still unable to find a way through. There is Bodie Batch. You can see at the front of your shot now. There is Freddie Williams, or Jenson James Williams even, just behind, who started to pull away and to close in on him. And then there we see Jenov and Sophia Page, with Sang now behind Sophia Page, about 3 seconds away, and with 14 seconds left on the clock. The next lap set to be the final lap. I unfortunately don't think he's going to have the time to catch up. But Sophia Page continues to put the pressure on the number 13, continues to hoard the bumper of Daniel Jenov, but at the moment just cannot find a way through. We are now starting the final lap of the race for Ralph Martin, your leader. And just behind, Ollie Little and Freddie Baker as well are having a right scrap heading down into turn one. As someone running very, very wide there. But there is your race leader, the number 15 of Ralph Martin, who's just got his head down and done his job, and done a very, very sound job at that. 1.6 seconds back to Ollie Little at the line, but with Little fighting with Freddie Baker. I only think that gap is going to increase over the remainder of this lap, just wrestling the car through some of the final few corners. No pressure from behind. It's all about keeping it on the black stuff now. Heads through Pylon Bend and into Complex Novell for the final time in the heats, just trying to generate some grip in the front tyres. But it doesn't matter, because with one corner left to go, rounding Paddock Bend for the final time in the heats, Ralph Martin will win in Heat 2 with a classy drive. Second place will go to Ollie Little, who's able to hold off Freddie Baker by just over a tenth of a second. But what a performance there from Ralph Martin, who was brilliantly able just to control the pace up the front and do what he had to do. Bodie Batch finishes in fourth. Daniel Jenov manages to hold off Sophia Page for P5. And Jenson James Williams was able to get through Elijah Tsang for P6.
This is the London Cup, live from Rye House.
Hello and welcome to the 2023 London Cup here at Rye House. You join us after a few finals. The sun is setting, a beautiful sunset forming in the sky behind the wonderfully placed Sainsbury's Distribution Centre. And we are getting ready for our next final here, the Iame Bambino final. We've already had two Bambino finals. Of course, we had the B final. We've just had the A final. And now, out come the Iame Bambinos. We've seen some great racing from these lot all weekend long. Freddie Baker leads the way. He has surely got to be the favourite heading into this one. He has been fantastic all throughout the heats and all throughout the weekend. But Ralph Martin, Ollie Little, Bodie Batch, they all look very, very strong. Maybe one of them can come through and upset the 92 Apple Cart. We'll have to wait and see as they make their way around and onto the starting grid. This, of course, will be our final standing start of the weekend, as well as the 70 goes around there. That's Freddie Dye having a bit of a moment on the formation lap. It's getting cold out there, I suppose. Cold tyres, easily done. Now, they make their way onto the grid. We are moments away from the final of the Iame Bambino here at the London Cup. Freddie Baker pulls into his pole position. Alongside him, Ralph Martin keeps his visor down. He's looking calm, he's looking collected. He is determined to get on with it. It is time to go racing. It is getting darker by the second here at Rye House. And we are not far away from racing. Of course, the clocks did go back last night in the UK, so we're back to UTC. British summertime is dead and buried. So in yesterday's money, we're currently at 20 to 6 in the evening, so the sun is going to get low very, very fast. I don't think it's long before the floodlights come on. But we're now waiting. Engines off, according to the... oh, there we go. Now we're starting the engines. All right, here we go. Engines are ready. The drivers are ready. We are ready to go racing in the Iame Bambino final. Red lights are on. It's lights out. We are underway. A fantastic start once again from Freddie Baker. He'll lead the pack. And it's the 20 of Ollie Little who slide into second place. Another very, very quick start for that young man as well. But it is Freddie Baker who leads the pack out of Stadium Bend and heading through Reg's Elbow. Ralph Martin, unfortunately not a great start, but he's got the inside line heading into the infield hairpin. He may have run just a little bit too wide there. Almost contact between himself and Little in the 20. Oh, spinning! Oh, big crash. A big collision. That is the 15 of Ralph Martin and the 88 of Bodie Batch. Two potential front runners have come together. Another spin as well further down the order. That's the 14 of Sophia Page. Very disappointing for her. She was also running very strong all throughout the heats. But Ralph Martin and Bodie Batch, wow, what a surprise. They were two of the front runners in all of the heats. And now Freddie Baker, who's already streaking off into the distance. 2 seconds is the gap after one lap. 2 seconds. Let that sink in for a moment. The man has disappeared into the distance here at Rye House. As we're getting into the evening. Freddie Baker, of course, also fastest lap of the race on the opening lap. Wow, what a shame, though, for Ralph Martin and Bodie Batch and Sophia Page, all on those opening laps. Three very, very strong competitors in this field, running afoul of the conditions and spinning. It's too much speed into the corner. The track temperature has dropped. The air temperature has very much dropped, I can tell you that much. It's getting very chilly in the commentary box. I can't imagine what it's like to be going nearly 40 miles an hour out there with the wind rushing into your suit and up into your helmet. It's not going to be a particularly warm experience. As Ollie Little has actually got past Freddie Baker. Freddie Baker's made a mistake somewhere. Ollie Little, fastest lap of the race. Freddie Baker was 3 seconds off the pace on that last lap. So the number 92, Freddie Baker, has made a mistake on the previous lap. The 20 of Ollie Little now leads this final here at Rye House. So drama on lap 2 already with 5 minutes and 45 seconds left to go. I wonder what happened to Freddie Baker. Maybe another half spin. The outfield hairpin seems to be catching out a fair few drivers at the moment with half spins. Seems to be very slippy if you're running off the racing line. We'll have to wait and see if that was what befell Freddie Baker, but he can now get focused again and get back on it. Of course, these all-weather LeConte tyres that the Bambinos are running, they can handle even the toughest of conditions, but you can still be caught out. Here goes Freddie Baker, back into the lead. That is super brave. Up the inside, side by side, Stadium Bend, Freddie Baker muscles his way into the lead of the race once again and into the lead of the final. That was a superb move there from Freddie Baker to get back into P1. Another half spin for Freddie Baker. He's still struggling, shaking the head. Through goes Ollie Little once again. Freddie Baker drops back down into P2, just ahead of Jenson James Williams. So Freddie Baker is clearly struggling with his rear tyre temperatures. I wonder if maybe the pressures just aren't quite right for the conditions, because he is really struggling with the rear of that Iame Bambino kart. Jenson James Williams tries to put a bit of pressure on, but can't at the moment. A bit more breathing room for Ollie Little, but he makes a slight error on the exit of Paddock Bend, the final corner of this circuit. And they roar their way back onto the start-finish straight. They'll be topping out at nearly 40 miles an hour coming through there. Oh, front end just picking up a little bit for Freddie Baker as he muscles his way through Stadium Bend. He is so fast through there. It's all about confidence. And at this level of karting through there, you can't really get through there flat out with the all-weather tyres, but you can certainly try. But it is Little that leads from Baker, from Williams. Your top three in this Iame final as it stands. Baker with 2 half spins, demoting him down into P2, but he is the driver with the pace and the advantage at the moment. And clearly the one with the determination, because after 2 half spins, he is pushing ferociously. Back into the final corner at Paddock Bend. Once again we go. Once again it's a little bit wide from Ollie Little. But once again, Freddie Baker is not close enough to challenge, or is a little bit late on the turn, and that time maybe trying something new. He just let it hang out a little bit wider on the corner entry as the floodlights are now on here at Rye House. So it's dark enough for the floodlights to go on. We're now trying to help driver visibility. I can tell you it is a lot brighter on camera than it is at trackside. I do feel for anybody listening in on the trackside commentary, because it is very, very dark out there indeed now. The sun is set very, very rapidly. Freddie Baker's last lap was a 52.558. Fastest lap of anybody, 0.6 faster than Ollie Little in the lead. And now Freddie Baker is all over the rear bumper of the number 20. Is he going to be able to find another way through? And this time, will he make it stick? Or are the tyre pressures still causing havoc? Another mistake on the exit of the final corner from Ollie Little. Freddie Baker already pulls out to the inside. He's going to be through before they even get to the corner. Baker back into the lead of the Bambino final here at Rye House. Can Little try and fight back? I don't think he can. Freddie Baker, all he has to do now is just not make any other mistakes, and he is home and dry. He has the clear pace advantage in this final. If he can hold on for another 2 minutes and 10 seconds plus another lap, he will be crowned the Iame Bambino London Cup champion of 2023. And he's already visually starting to pull a big gap to Ollie Little behind, trying desperately to find his way and try and get on the back of Freddie Baker. Jenson James Williams has fallen back out of the contention for this lead. Freddie Baker has actually been given a warning this lap given a warning for not entirely sure what, just says warning on the timing screen. So I guess we'll wait and see, but the number 92 still leads the way. Oh, spinning in the front of your shot, that's Jesse Plowman, the number 2 going round at the outfield hairpin. He's been able to get going again, as these guys are going to be catching some back markers very, very soon. The number 92 and the number 20, your front pair, how are they going to negotiate the back markers with just over a minute to go, 1 minute and 15 left on the clock, plus 1 lap? And that is all that separates Freddie Baker or Ollie Little, or maybe potentially someone else, from being crowned the London Cup champion of 2023 in the Iame Bambino class. Baker then rounds paddock bend. He is super strong out here. He's very good at getting the power on smoothly, compared to Little, who I think just struggles getting that power down. Has to negotiate some back markers. The 70 passes him by with no real issue. Freddie Dye there respecting the blue flags, and I'm sure that Freddie Dye will also let Ollie Little by in due course as well, with little to no problem, and indeed he has. Well, actually, no, Ollie Little actually hasn't caught up to him yet, so Little, I think, struggling for pace now. 25 seconds left. Next lap will be the final lap of the race in this final, and Freddie Baker has visually built up a huge advantage over Ollie Little in this final. We'll have to wait and see what the times are going to be when they get to the line. I'll tell you what, we could have a chance for one more lap here potentially. And there's 5 seconds to go. It's going to be tight. No, it will be one more lap. So final lap of the race. What is the gap between Baker and Little? 2.7 seconds. Little lost a second on that lap as Ralph Martin has managed to go. Freddie Baker's gone round. Freddie Baker has gone round from the lead, and that's Ollie Little up into the lead once again. Freddie Baker on the final lap may have just thrown away his lead, and there goes Ralph Martin into the lead. This race has become electric on the final lap here at Rye House. Ralph Martin has gone from third to first on the final lap. Freddie Baker's round again. He's out of contention. It's Martin versus Little for the race win, for the championship of the London Cup in 2023. Freddie Baker's thrown it away on the last lap. Who's going to win? A handful of corners left to go. One turn beckons. Little held up by back markers. And Ralph Martin, third to first in the final. Wow. Ralph Martin is your 2023 Iame Bambino champion, with some late drama on the last lap. Unbelievable scenes here at Rye House. Freddie Baker, you've got to feel for the young man. He was so fast, so dominant. And now, unfortunately, it is just not gone his way. A spin on the very, very final lap. Oh, heartbreak for Freddie Baker. Elation for Ralph Martin. He is the 2023 London Cup Iame Bambino champion.